Hello, this is Craig Wescoe recording for TCGplayer.com, and today we're going to be playing Selesnya Midrange. This is the deck that won the PTQ this weekend in the hands of Team 5C, and so anytime there's a sweet green-white deck in a format, you know I'm going to want to try it out. So this deck, it basically is a Llanowar Elf deck that tries to curve out with all these powerful spells, mostly creatures and some planeswalkers, and some removal spells. So basically, the first turn play that you want more than anything is Llanowar Elves, but you don't always have that, and that's okay. Second turn, you have things like Shanna, which is pretty hard to deal with, and we can end up making a lot of creatures. We have creatures pretty much everywhere along the curve. Then we also have Karn, which can make more creatures. So getting Shanna pretty big is not too difficult. And it's hard for opponents to deal with her, and you can't target her with effects such as against mono red when they attack with that Minotaur. Well, they can't target Shanna to make Shanna not be able to block, because that's an ability. And then you also have cards like Merfolk Branchwalker, which help you hit your land drops, and also just pressure the opponent and provide more creatures for Shanna. Then you have removal spells like Seal Away, Ixalan's Binding, and so you have ways to deal with creatures. You have Walking Ballista as well. Then you also have Treasure Map, which can help find you some, action later in the game, and it can transform. When it transforms, it makes 3 treasures, which work really well with the constructs, the -2 ability on Karn. So I'm sure we'll see that come up once or twice. And then Rishkar, it's another sweet card that can allow us to ramp into our bigger spells and cast multiple spells a turn and make Walking Ballistas really big. And it works really well in the other direction with Walking Ballista as well, just producing mana, and then Ballista can produce mana to put counters on itself. And then the Merfolk Branchwalker sometimes will just get a counter by itself as well, so you can immediately tap that. Then you have Thrashing Brontodon, which is just interestingly a very good card in Standard right now. So the body, the 3/4 for 3, matches up well against a lot of the aggressive decks, early creatures. And it's hard to burn out because a lot of the burn spells are like Abrade and Lightning Strike and things like that. So it's not very easy to use a 1-for-1 removal spell against it without conceding mana value, like using a Cast Out or something like that on the Brontodon to lose a mana worth of value. And then also, Brontodon has a lot of targets right now. A lot of people are playing artifacts, a lot of people are playing enchantments, so there's a lot of vehicles going around. There's Heart of Kiran, there's Ether Sphere Harvester, there's enchantments like Cast Out, Ixalan's Binding, Search for Azcanta. There's just a lot going on right now that the Brontodon can kill. So it's just a really solid creature right now. I mean, there's no dinosaur synergies or anything like that. It's just a good card. Harvester is a way to gain life. It's a way to fly, so flying is very relevant when the opponents have planeswalkers, when they can kind of gum up the board. A lot of times this deck can put down like a Brontodon and maybe a Branchwalker, so the opponent doesn't have great attacks without trading, maybe losing a creature in combat. And so the Harvester can just fly over, and that's pretty good value a lot of the time. So the flying and the lifelink are both good. And also this deck, if the opponent, say, fumigates you or uses some other sort of board wipe, well, the Harvester survives because it's not a creature on the opponent's turn. And so then you untap and play a creature, and then you can immediately start attacking. So that's another good thing that we get out of the Harvester. Ixalan's Binding, it's a way to deal with cards like Hazoret, Scarab God, and also enchantment-based removal like Cast Out, things like that. The Shalai, this one has impressed me. It's probably the one card in the deck that I would want more copies of if I were to change some things. She's really good against cards like Settle the Wreckage. So Settle the Wreckage, they have to target you, and they can't target you because Shalai gives you hexproof. And it also gives all your planeswalkers hexproof, which with now the planeswalker redirection rule no longer existing, they can't like bolt you and redirect it to your planeswalker. They have to bolt your planeswalker, but they can't if your planeswalker has hexproof. And then your other creatures have hexproof as well, So this protects your other creatures. So a lot of times what I will do is I'll play, say, a Lyra Dawnbringer, and then the opponent's like, all right, great. I'll like sit here with my Seal Away in hand, waiting for you to attack with that Lyra. And I'm like, all right, great. Shalai, attack with my Lyra. And they're like, oh, I guess I can't Seal Away that after all. Well, I guess I'll Settle the Wreckage. Wait, I can't do that either because of Shalai. And then it's like, well, what do you do? And it's like, oh, well, that's that's kind of tough. That's a rough spot now. Then another card in this deck that I've been really impressed with, one of my favorite cards in the set so far, is Karn, Scion of Urza. Just super good against any of the mid-range or control decks. Can just really, like, all three of its abilities are fantastic. You just play it and plus it on like an empty board and start basically drawing cards. You just alternate plus and minus until you hit like a bad card, then you just plus it twice. Then you can also just -2 to make the construct, which can surprisingly get pretty big in this deck, especially with the treasure map when it transforms. And you also have just cards like Aethersphere Harvester, Walking Ballista. You have some sideboard artifacts, and then you just make multiple constructs. So it can actually get in some damage, some pretty good hits. So Karn has been really impressive to me. And then Lyra, basically just Baneslayer Angel with some upside. She's legendary, so don't make the mistake of casting multiples. I had an opponent do that against me one round. Don't do that. Just really strong in the format right now. A lot of our earlier creatures kind of force the opponent to play their removal spells on those creatures. So then when we play Lyra, they're oftentimes out of removal. So it's the perfect time to have Lyra. Also, I cast her on turn 3 one game off of a pair of Llanowar Elves. That was pretty sweet. Not going to happen all the time, but generally good to have those kind of high-end kind of hands. Walking Ballista is just a really sweet card that can help deal with a lot of the 1-toughness creatures. It's also a very powerful win condition, can help us deal with planeswalkers. We can produce a lot of mana in the mid to late game. So between like Rishkar and Llanowar Elves and just all of our lands, then we make treasures off the treasure map. Sometimes you want to sack those to the Ballista. Usually not. Usually you want to draw the cards with them. But yeah, just a lot of things we could do with a Ballista. Also helps make the construct bigger off of Karn. And then in the sideboard, we have a lot of removal spells. We have Baffling End for all the early creature decks. We have Thopter Arrest and Ixalan's Binding for the slightly bigger creatures. Binding also doubles as Enchantment Hate and Artifact Hate. Then we have the 4th Harvester, so Mono Red is still a deck. It's a deck that I think probably got quite a bit better with the Goblin Chain Whirler. So we definitely want access to the 4th Harvester. Then we have 3 copies of Lifecrafter's Bestiary. Another card that's great in these Teferi matchups everyone wants to play, the blue-white control Teferi matchups. And Blossoming Defense against decks that want to board in removal spells for some of our more potent creatures like Lyra Dawnbringer. But then those removal spells, like outside of those removal spells to deal with Lyra, they don't have a lot of good answers to Lyra. That's where I think we want Blossoming Defense more than anything. So it's mostly to protect Lyra, I think. And then Nissa. So Nissa does a few things. One, it gives us another big mana play against decks where we really want more of those types of plays. So in mid-range matchups and control matchups, we just want more potent action. But then it's also a way to keep adding pressure to the board without overextending into Fumigate. So casting a turn 5 Lyra isn't always the best play when our second and third turn plays are like Merfolk Branchwalker into Thrashing Brontodon, something like that. You don't want to just overextend too far into the Fumigate, but if you play Nissa and plus it to make a land a 5/5 and attack with the land or whatever, then they Fumigate you, and then you can still basically attack with the land for 5 the following turn. So it's a little bit better in that situation whenever you're trying to play around sweepers. Yeah, so this deck, also the lands. pretty standard. You have the cycling lands, you have the Sun Petal Groves, you have forests and plains. Ether Hub, mostly just another sort of dual land, another way to get turn 1 Llanowar Elf. That's a big one. You can get energy off the Harvester as well to get white mana again off the hub if you need it, or green mana. Hotship Oasis is the one kind of special land in the deck, and that's actually come up to be pretty useful in a couple of occasions. Just pumping Lyra to gain 5 more life has been relevant, or Ether Sphere Harvester to gain 3 more life is relevant. And then also the sometimes just in combat, making like a Thrashing Brontodon bigger or something like that, just to get the extra damage in, is kind of swings the math in a way where even just threatening to do it by having the Oasis on the battlefield means the opponent has to do things on a turn that they don't really want to do. So instead of just being like, oh, well, I have another turn to live, I'm going to do something else to set up for my play of Fumigate or whatever. Now they're like, well, I have to do it this turn because they could kill me with the Oasis. All right, so this is the deck we're going to play today. I've been playing it a little bit. I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite decks in the format. Surprise, I like the green-white deck. But I think that it does a lot. It's got a lot of staying power against the mid-range and control decks, and it has a nice curve that matches up well against some of the aggro decks, and it has life gain to compete with the red deck. So I think it's just a really well-rounded deck, and I want to show it to you in action. All right, so round one, I just want to kind of let you know that these games can sometimes go long because this deck has a pretty good attrition game plan. And in one of my test games, I actually got naturally decked and timed out. So I'm going to try to kind of play fast and not really talk through all my plays as much as I might otherwise. So I don't want us to potentially miss a game 3 or not be able to finish. I left Karn on top because that's probably going to be good in this matchup, even though we already have one. Probably just going to be happy to trade with whatever they do here. Looks like it's a... Why did neither of them get a counter? Oh, wrong one. There we go. Hotship Oasis. Okay. See, I figured the first Karn would die. That's why I kept the second Karn. Looks like this is a mono black control with the Cabal Stronghold. New card. Haven't actually seen this deck in action. Seems like it could be good though. So now here I'm tempted to just jam the Karn, but this is kind of my opportunity to get the Rishkar online as well. I'm going to wait a turn on the Karn. We are just going to set up to protect Karn. Oh, that's interesting. Harvester and Branch Walker. It's pretty cool. I guess we'll top that. Just gonna keep back blockers so they can't activate Ballista, like push one and attack. Oh, hit the Vraska. That's pretty good. Yeah, this is fine. So I could kill the Blood fast, but I don't think that that's a problem. So they're not actually generating mana off the Cabal Strongholds yet. Okay. So what are you going to target with our own Seal Away? If you do the Brontodon, we're going to kill the Ballista in response. Then you kill the Llanowar Elf. Alright. I think I'm going to let that resolve here. It blocks Brontodon here. It's fine with. It's pretty neat once you transform this. If you have that Dread Shade, you can pump all your mana into it and then sacrifice it to gain a bunch of life. It's kind of neat. Alright, so they have some mana. Hopefully they're not about to get to Josu Ves. I guess they're still a little ways off to play Josu Ves with Kicker. Yeah, we need to draw a spell here. We're a little short on spells. Blister for 3. Not bad. or I was about to say, or the Haship Oasis. That would be lethal here. Cycle this. Okay. Which will that get us there? If we play Karn, get the Haship Oasis, play the Haship Oasis, we can't activate it yet. Alright, so it's not going to quite be enough. This would have been our actual draw instead of the Scattered Groves, it would have worked. Hmm. So if we attack with both, they have to just trade with the Rishkar, so... So that is what we're going to do here. At this point, Josuves would not be enough, because we could just fly over it with the Harvester. Another Bloodfast, okay. Going to 1, draw a card. There's the Dread Shade. So they could pump it to a 5 and go to 6 life. Alright, then we can kill them. So, we'll go ahead and play this. We will target the Dread Shade. So they presumably pump, sack. Oh, they're just sacking, so they do have something. Alright, so do I want to get the Oasis? Guess not. So just make another one here. Alright, still alive. Tetsamok, okay. Marking all our creatures and casting Tetsamok. This is a game, I guess. Alright. Oh wait, no, that's... No. Ah, I misclicked. I meant to undo. Now they're gonna sack Tetsamok. That was a misclick. Alright. So I don't want to get the Harvester yet. That was bad. I guess I just do it. Lyra, okay. Alright, so we essentially cost ourselves at least one counter on the Ballista, but that's okay. We're probably still going to kill them next turn. Oh yeah, they get to draw cards now too. Alright, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. So we gotta deal with our Ballista. Can't go any lower without resolving a creature first to sacrifice. Alright. So our mistake cost us a little bit at this point. Well, that's okay. Hmm. Alright, let's see if Lyra does it. Lyra number 1. That's good enough. Okay, so let's not make that mistake again. So it does not look like they're pressuring us, so we don't really want that. I feel like the Harvester is as much a liability as it is beneficial. I kind of want to draw one, but not multiples. They look like they have bigger threats, and their threats aren't always creatures, so I think the Binding is probably the best removal spell against them. They don't seem to have ways to get rid of the Binding efficiently, because they're mono black. I think that these Planeswalkers could be really good. Blossoming Defense won't protect Karn, but it'll protect Lyra from Vraska's Contempt. I think the Bestiary could also be really strong. So I think these are the cards I'm considering the most. Treasure Map seems pretty good against them as well. Brontodon was good. Ballista's okay. I think we could probably cut all the Harvesters. I think we just have better options. And we can cut one Ballista. We'll leave the third Bestiary in the sideboard. I'll keep. Hopefully we can hit a forest in our turn 1 draw step, but if not, that's okay. Hey, look at that. Just had it. I was thinking, second turn, Llanowar Elf is still okay. First turn is a little more than okay. I had to push anyway. Wonder what they do here. I guess I double block. Not sure what they would have here. Alright. Okay, that was good. I think this is fine. Don't think we need to bind that either. I think I would rather just draw a card with this as well. So they have access to 8 mana now. This could be Mark Tetsamok. Nope. Alright, Brontodon probably kills our bestiary here. Yeah. Alright, so that's what they got off of Argonti, obviously. Hmm. Yeah, I think I just want to jam here. Do I want to get the... No. I doubt they block. But... Alright. I guess if I'm going to cycle this, I might as well do it now. And that's why. We're not going to ultimate Nissa next turn. Okay, well, that's another reason why we won't. Not the reason I had in mind, but so I think we're just going to bind that anyway. Now we have lethal next turn, if nothing happens. I suspect something's about to happen, though. Tetsamok, that is certainly something. Let's see, we don't really have a good answer to that. Okay, now I'm going to ultimate. So now Nissa dies. Cool. Already cashed her in and got quite a bit of value. Ooh, Karn. Let's go ahead and draw a card first. Set up lethal next turn because of the Hashep Oasis. And we're just going to minus so we can chump block the Tetzmoc. If they draw a removal spell, they kind of have to use it on Lyra or they're dead. So if they try to use it on the construct to kill the Karn with Tetzmoc, it's not going to work out for them. Alright. So they could use a removal spell out of our deck. Ixalan's Binding on our Lyra, something like that. Yeah, we're gonna go for it here. That's not gonna do it. See what we get first. Alright, let's see again what we get. Yeah, I think that's a top. Now I think we just go for it here. No sense giving him a draw step. And that's the match. Good games. Alright, looks like it could be an energy deck, or it could just be a deck like ours where we have a few hubs without really a predominant energy theme. Maybe just a couple of harvesters. Nope, it's energy. So in this spot, I really think that if we can keep them from getting ahead with the Siphoner, I think we're in good shape. So I'm really just inclined to go ahead and kill that. If we wait a turn, we can keep the Ballista around, but if we wait a turn, they also draw a card. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to kill it. Then we can still play another elf. So this gives us a pretty big mana advantage, and they're not going to get ahead with cards now either. So they drew a cemetery and then put a ballista on top. Alright, so they can ballista and mow down both our elves next turn. It's pretty good. So I guess we'll stop on our upkeep and scry with the map. See if they actually do it. They might decide it's not worth it to shoot down both our elves. I think they do, yeah. There might just be one, yeah. Yeah, bottom that. Okay, not bad. So we could bind the Ranger. I think I want to save it in case they play Scarab God next turn, though. Yeah, we're going to offer the trade with Brontodon, though. If they want to waste their turn putting 4 mana into the Ballista, that's fine with us. Yeah, I guess we take it. We bottom that. I think it's close. Ooh. Alright, now we do want that second white after all. I guess if the map transforms next turn, that'll give us white. I still want to save our thing. I'm going to save it for the Scarab God, our binding. So they play their cycling land. Do I want to kill it? Yeah, I'm going to kill it. So the reason I'm killing the Ballista here is because next turn they're going to have a bunch of mana with the Rishkar to just put counters on the Ballista, and I'm going to want to use this thing, so I can top that, yeah. So let's see. I think I can let him draw a card and just play the Lyra. So they have to have like a Vraska's Content to deal with it. I guess it'd be pretty far behind then. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's almost lethal. Just as is. Yeah, I think we kind of have to take that risk at this point. I could have sacked 2 treasures. No, that wouldn't work. Yeah, it's basically Lyra or no at that point. I think we want Lyra. So they kind of have to have a Vraska's Content or something. Hostage Taker. Yeah, Scarab God. I guess they get an activation off of it though, because they had 9 mana because of Rishkar. So they can get a Siphoner, they can get a Brontodon. I think we go ahead and cast it though. Oh, wait, no, they can't. That's right, because they attacked with their Siphoner. For some reason, I was thinking that the Rishkar had the +1 counter on it. Alright, well, that worked out much better for us. Now we can attack. And then that threatens lethal next turn because of the Oasis. And I think we want a blocker. Instead of a blocker, we could just shoot down the Siphoner. Pay 2 energy. They don't have 2 energy, so they're not getting a card off it. I think we're just going to do it, yeah. So we take 2 and go to 10. And they have to answer Lyra here. That's not going to help. They got fetid pool so they can cycle it. Seems like I should have done that first. Alright. I mean, I guess we go for it. Let's go. Yep. Digging for that answer. Did not get it. Alright, so energy with Hazaret, or not Hazaret, the Scarab God. We want Binding and Thopter Arrest. So Baffling End can deal with the energy dude, the Dark Confidant, whatever its name is, Glint Sleeve Siphoner. I think that's better than Seal Away. Let's see, I guess Ballista, we have that to deal with it as well, so maybe we don't need that. I don't think we need Flying or Life Gain. So this is a matchup where I think that they have few answers to Lyra, so this might be a matchup where I want Blossoming Defense. Because we don't need to be super controlling, it's not a super grindy matchup. Let's see, what do they have for Brontodon? They have Ballista. That might be it. I mean, the body matches up pretty well, but we could probably board one out. I guess since we're on the draw, I think I want another answer to the Siphoner. So give us 5 turn 2 answers to the turn 2 Siphoner. Yeah, and then we can just kind of be on the Lyra Blossoming Defense plan. I think I like that. The removal spell, Vraska's Contempt, exiles the creature, so getting it back with something like Nissa is not an option. Does that change things? It does not. Actually, it does. Because we don't need to play Shanna on turn 2. I'd rather play the Ballista and a tapped land on 2 in case if they have the turn 2 Siphoner. Constrictor, okay. I think we play it. Alright, so now we can play Karn. We get super wrecked by Rishkar. Probably play Rishkar there if they have it instead of the Constrictor. So we got a Branch Walker coming. Cycling, so they're flooded a little bit, I guess. I think that's okay. So we're saving the arrest for basically Scarab God or Hostage Taker. I feel like the taking out one of the Constrictors is not going to really help us considerably. Interesting. Now we can double block if they attack with both. Yeah. So we can actually do this. We can go block, block, and then shoot that one. So we get to keep our elf too. Okay, I can handle that. Ooh, Blossoming Defense. Well, might have to wait a turn. So Shanna exiled. Yeah, I think I'm going to wait a turn on Lyra so we can Blossoming Defense. Oh wait, what am I thinking? I have a Llanowar Elf. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. I could just play the forest and tap out, let me get green up and play Lyra. That would have been so much better. I just completely did the math wrong. Alright, whatever. Opponent gets a free turn. Yeah, I think that play would have probably just won us the game. I mean, it probably still will next turn, but all right. Okay, well that's helpful. Our play actually, I think, works to our advantage. And I want to thought to arrest that. Yeah, I think I want to arrest it. Actually, no. We still need to, because they're gonna go land. Can they target this with the ability? Target of abilities. I guess not. But they'd cast it, kill these two, and then attack, and we'd have a 1/1. I guess we could Blossoming Defense and block. At least threaten to do that. We have another Karn, we're not too worried. So we just play the other Karn. Yeah, I kind of like that better. So now if they attack the Constrictor into Karn, Karn goes down to 4. No big deal. We untap and play Lyra with Blossoming Defense. Because I don't know about Lyra yet. I don't know what's in our hand. If they did, they might wait on the Tetsamok. They know about the Blossoming Defense. I think that's about it. Sweet. Now we're threatening to kill the Constrictor with that Blossoming Defense, and they know about the Blossoming Defense. So they might not even attack Karn, but if they do, we're not going to block. Because we'd rather save the defense for the Lyra. It doesn't change anything. I think I want to draw a card. If they tap out for something, we can cycle the Grove. But if they have any mana up, we're not going to risk it. If they attack with Tetsamok, I'm not sure what I do here. I'm not going to block and play Blossoming Defense, because then they just Vraska's Contempt in response. I might block with Shanna. That's okay, because we have the Thopter Rest for it. Now they're tapped low enough where I'm not worried about Fatal Push. Do I want to just eat the Tetsamok? With the Blossoming Defense, or do I want to protect it? I'm gonna do it. Now I'm gonna do it. You baited me. So we gain 7, eat the Tetsamok. I don't know why they tapped out for the Scarab God first. That doesn't really make much sense to me. So now we can minus Karn. Oh. Alright, they conceded. Well, we're about to Thopter arrest their Scarab God. Play Rishkar, that's pretty good. And then use Karn to get Thrashing Brontodon. Yeah, so we're in pretty commanding position here, but that was a little premature. Alright, decent hand. Can't complain. First turn, Llanowar Elves. I'm going to keep most of those hands, I think. Especially when we have a couple of follow-ups. Mountain. Okay, so this could be mono red. Played against mono red a couple times. Probably kills the elves here, so we can't crew the harvester without playing a creature. We drew the land. And in case you're wondering, this ability you have to choose the targets when it goes on the stack, so there's no way to crew it in response to get the counters on the harvester, in case you're wondering. This could be the mono red tokens deck, or it could be the mono red gift ungiven deck. It's probably not the mono red aggro deck with like Tenros and stuff. Alright, yeah, it's definitely God-Pharaoh's gift. Alright, so we can play Shalai, we can buy. I think I just want to cast Ixalan's Binding on that thing. Means we don't get to attack though. You know what, on second thought, yeah, because if they have another one in hand, they could just cast it. Yeah, I think I want to take the turn off and do that. Just to really make sure that game plan is out. Not happening. I think if we know that their only way to get to the gift is just getting to 7 mana, that makes it a little easier. Prospector does help you get there though. I guess we'll lead with this one. I think I'm okay with trading here. Alright, there goes our Llanowar Elf. Yeah, we'll top that. Can't abrade it because of Shalai. Take 6, and then I guess we know we're drawing a way to pump Shalai, so they put the opponent down to 1. Yeah, they're just like, we're done. Not even going to continue. So we want, I think, Binding and Arrest, because those can kill the artifacts. They probably bring in a Braid if they don't already have them. Brontodon is good because it kills the artifact. The God-Pharaoh's Gift. So you have Brontodons, Thopter Arrests, and Bindings. I think we should probably be good on that front. So the question is, do we want to bring in stuff to be able to deal with things like Siege Gang Commander, stuff like that? Probably. Let's see, how effective is Karn going to be? Probably not super effective. I'll do that. I think I mulligan this hand. Well, we have double Brontodon. Yeah, we're going to keep, actually. So we're on the draw here, and the Branch Walker gets us closer. So I feel like if we don't hit our 3rd and 4th land drops, like, it's pretty unlucky with this hand. They might respond to the Branch Walker by killing it. This is the chance to kill it, because if I hit, and the counter just goes on it. Yep, that's what I figured. Alright, come on, land. Otherwise it's going in the graveyard, no matter what. Yeah, there we go. Still want another land. We have 2 draw steps now to hit it. Yeah, I think we can just Brontodon here. I'm not going to Rishkar because I don't want the Rishkar to die. You don't really need the extra mana next turn. We're just landing the Brontodon the next turn we can Grove. Alright, Hazaret. Kind of weird, tap my 4/5 for mana just to get a Llanowar Elf into play, but I think based on what our hand is, I think that's what we want. Oh, alright. So much for that. Still can't attack with Hazaret yet. I think if they have a shock or something, I don't want to risk attacking into the Hazoret. I'll trade Shock and Chain Whirler for Brontodon though. I'm okay with that. So now there's no more Hazarets this game because of binding. Ooh, Glorybringer, that one's good. You can kill Rishkar here, but you can't kill Brontodon. So we could just bind the dragon in case they have another one in hand. It's probably correct. We can play Brontodon Llanowar Elf, but then the second dragon would really be pretty brutal. And we're actually getting pretty low on life too, so get rid of that. Do we want to trade? They have one card in hand. We want to trade 4 damage for 3 damage. I think I actually don't. I think I just sit back here. So we go to 12, we go to 9. Yeah, we're not trying to race. I'll block though. So now I can attack, and then I can play Brontodon and Elf. I think that's better than Karn here. The Chain Whirler gets bricked by Brontodon pretty hard, just the 3/4. Definitely blocking. So 2, 4, 5, 6 mana. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna have like Hour of Promise or anything like that. That would be a reason to not play Lyra. Hmm. So that could be because they just have another burn spell in hand, and their burn spells only hit for 3, so they can't really hit any of our dinosaurs anyway. So they're just 2 for 1ing themselves to stay alive because they're getting too low on life. I don't think that that's a tell that they have something like Hour. Okay, and second thought, oh, I had the read, and I just didn't go with it. Alright. Thopter Arrest, okay. You could probably just Thopter Arrest that. Yeah, so they're actually 1 mana away from casting the God-Pharaoh's gift, so we're actually going to put a stop on their second main in case they cast it pre-combat. We're going to attack though. Yes, they're not blocking, which means they probably have the gift in hand. So we're going to kill it pre-combat if they cast it. So now they have to kill the third Brontodon before they can cast the gift. Give us some good ones. Lyra and Harvester, okay. Better just get Lyra next turn. This is an interesting game. Karn doing some work. Alright, well they have 7 mana now, but they're probably just not playing it into the Brontodon. Ooh, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8 and 4. Ping, ping. Activate attack. So this would actually be lethal. They have 2 cards in hand. Four, 6, 7, 8. Yep. No. Undo. Tap that one. And before blocks. Kill that. And kill the Prospector. Ooh, Abrade the Harvester. Still gonna kill the Prospector. Actually, yeah. And then I'll get Lyra back next turn, I guess. Probably concedes here. Send me a message. Probably good game. Yeah, good games. Can't really keep this. Need to have green mana. Alright, this will work. Yeah, we could use another mana, that's fine. So I think we probably just branch Walker into Treasure Map. Alright, the old blue-white deck again. Played against this a few times in the previous league. It's one of the tougher matchups for this deck. It's kind of on the rise too, which might mean this deck ends up needing some adjustments, but it's not that bad. We have a good sideboard too, just the games sometimes take a while, that's all. If they can stick a Teferi and we don't have an answer to it, things can get rough, but we have Ballistas in hand, which are pretty decent answers to Teferi. Yeah, I think we'll top that. They probably want to Glimmer on this turn, so we want to cast a spell they're going to counter, and they do. I don't think we're going to scry on upkeep. I think here we probably go ahead and bind the search. They don't have a lot of targets other than Teferi. They have Teferi, they have Gearhulk, and they have Search. I think this is the turn we want to bind, though. Now they'll probably Glimmer to set up for the Gearhulk next turn. They could cast out. Casting out the binding would be reasonable, but nope, they just want to Glimmer into Gearhulk. Alright, so they have Gearhulk into Disallow. We'll just draw, that's fine. It's not bad. Attack first, so that if they want to Gearhulk to eat our creature, they have to do it pre-combat, Gearhulk on Glimmer. Now, I think we do want to give them a target for the counterspell, because I don't want them to Glimmer. I'd rather them counter. Question is, do I want to play Karn, or do I want to play Lyra? I think I'd rather lose Karn at this point. Let it resolve. So we're going to make a token. We're going to play our land. So we're going to access to all this mana. And the end step, Gearhulk Glimmer. No, they didn't have it. Interesting. Figure if they don't have it, then they probably try to find a negate in response to negate the Karn. But did not. Let's see, end step, map into another Ballista. Ballista, I think, is fine here. I think we're okay with that. Let's see here. So we can activate the treasure map to make 3 treasures, which would be 3, 4, so they'd be a 4/4 construct. I think we want to make another construct, actually. Pre-combat. And we'll smash with both. So at least set up lethal next turn. Okay. So we get a plains and a forest. And then post-combat. So we'll cast Lyra. Scatter, okay. So we'll bottom that. So they want to kill our land, okay. Let's get another green. Let's see here, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's 5, so we attack. They go to 8. Let's see, what else was it? Llanowar Elf, okay. We'll just do it for 5. Then we can attack for 5 here with the construct. Syncopate for 4. We only have 3 treasures, so that works. So we get in for 4 here, though. Interesting. Lyra and Shalai. Not bad. So I guess I'll just attack first, because I have to do something about this construct. And if they have a Gear Hulk, we're going to make them tap out for it here. Otherwise, I want them to take the 4 first. Okay, bounce with kicker. So now we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, potentially 12, 13, 14. I think we just cast the Lyra here. Okay, now I think we can Ballista. Now they're digging for an answer, like a Fumigate or a Cast Out. This Ballista. Alright, so that does deal with it. The minus on the Ballista. So we're going to go remove a counter, kill the Teferi. going to target the opponent 3 times. Actually, let's see. Put target non-permanent into its owner's library, 3rd from the top. Can we get to it? It goes on top with 2 cards above it. We draw, there's 1 card above it, and we Karn minus, and they have to give us the other card. Yeah, I think 1 point is fine. Just let it go on top. Brontodon, that does not help us. So we can get Shalai. We want plus though. So they have to give us the card other than the Ballista, yep. I can go graveyard that. Alright, so next turn we can minus Karn to get Ballista, and that should be lethal. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So yeah, that's lethal. So I guess we attack with both, because that's also lethal. Here we get this Ballista. Play it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That looks good. So they have to counter it. Alright, so the Glimmer in response, trying to find an Essence Scatter, or they die. And that is game. Alright, so this matchup, it can go pretty long. I think Blossoming Defense is okay, not fantastic. Harvester is okay, not fantastic. Karn is great, Treasure Map is great. Lifegrafter's Bestiary is great, Miss is great. Seal Away, not great. So I guess they have things like Settle the Wreckage and Fumigate, so I guess Blossoming Defense isn't that good. They might bring in their own Lyras. So between Teferi and Lyra and things like that, I think 3 bindings is good. Probably cut a Ballista. I think these Shannas are not fantastic in this matchup because they have sweepers. We don't want to really overextend. I think maybe Ballista is probably the last ad. We drew our 2 hubs. We do have the Llanowar Elf though, and they don't have a lot of great answers to it. They have Seal, but or Seal Away, but Let's draw forest here anyway. Almost. So this turn we can play Branch Walker. We just want Brontodon here. If it gets countered, it gets countered, no big deal. Ooh, that's a nice one. Yeah, I figured they'd probably counter that if they have it. The card's really good against them. Alright, get these counter spells out of the way. I really kind of wanted to hold this Oasis until after they sacrifice their Field of Ruin, but I really want to cycle the Scattering Grove, so... I guess that if they kill our Scattering Grove, then we float a mana and cycle, so maybe it wasn't necessary, but if they don't Field of Ruin, then we just missed our chance to cycle, so... And we do have lethal on board now with the Oasis, technically. I don't think it's going to work, but we do have it. So I think we're about to get settled here. And if they settle, then we can resolve our map. So, let's see, maybe it's Gearhulk. Let's assume it's Gearhulk. If it's Gearhulk, they Gearhulk into Glimmer, and then we can bind it. So if we play the Rishkar first, Shanna becomes a 4/4, but counters on the other two. So it's 4, 3, 2, and it's for 5. They go to 4. Then we can't binding. Alright, we're just going to attack. Alright. So get forest, forest, and I guess plains. Okay, scatter. That's bottom. And then upkeep. Scry again. That's a topper. Probably doesn't survive. Didn't think so. So now, with a Field of Ruin, since they were very patient with it, it's probably going to get this treasure map. I don't think there's really a way we can avoid that, though. Ooh. Actually, Gearhult counter. Yep. At least they don't get to Glimmer because they have to counter that. And now we get to resolve our binding. So no more Gearhulks. Now the Field of Ruin, our Treasure Cove. And we draw Llanowar Elf. This is the stage of the game where things are not looking great. We do have some good draws, though. That's one of them. Wow. Okay, it resolved. Do we have anything? No. I think we make a creature here. Not worried about Gearhulk. Field of Ruin. So we'll get this one. Just gonna whittle down their life total, basically. Well, okay. That's gonna be a hard proposition at this point. Let's see, so if we make a construct, it'd be a 4/4, still can't attack. So we'll do this first. I will top that. And guess make a construct. So then they'll attack with Lyra, presumably kill Karn. Then we'll draw the binding for the Lyra, attack them for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so that would put them to 1. Unless they just fumigate. Let's see, do we attack with everyone? Do we hold someone back? 9, put them to 4. I think we can afford to hold one back. Alrighty. Not a lot of lands in our deck to draw, so we have some live draws, that's for sure. That's one thing that Settle does. Gideon, okay, so Branch Walker, not going to do much damage. I guess we'll just hold on to that one. Getting aggressive with Gideon here. So probably drew a Seal Away or something. We are going to go for it. Alright. I think we have like one basic left, something like that. 1 or 2. Scattered Grove Cycle, Sun Petal. Sun Petal is one that we could draw that doesn't do much. I think we went through both our Haship Oases. Oh man, that's not good. Alright. Now I think we're just going through the motions. I guess we can chump block. So I'm going to get the Gear Hulk. Oh, that's game. Alright, so any changes we want to make. So they do have Lyra. Probably not. If we can land a Nissa, Nissa is a really good card in this matchup. Go first turn Elf, second turn Branch Walker. I guess we'll keep this. Against a red deck, you would not keep this because they would have shocks and stuff for your Llanowar Elf, but in this matchup, they do not. Alright. Disguise that we drew another forest. Got the scatter. This is a lot of damage. Now next turn we can play the Shalai if we want to. So it has to be a disallow because we have the mana to pay for Syncopate with the Llanowar Elves. Alright, or Scatter, yep. So I was thinking if they're trying to seal away, something like that, the Shalai would protect to that. That's it. Alright, we need a good draw. It's not going to work against Settle. I guess let's go with these two. I don't like that. This might be Fumigate now. Unless they're just digging for it. Grr. Alright. Same thing whether we ping the opponent or ping our own creatures. Because they gain life. Alright, let's draw something good. Nissa. Right here, Nissa. Oh, called it. Yes. And we are not going to play the land in case they play Field of Ruin. Alright, let's see what they got. So they could disallow the activation of Nissa. They could seal away. We could minus. I think we don't. I think we want them to try to like Gearhulk block. So then we can bind it. Alright, sweet. Go to Plains. Alright, just no answer to Nissa. Lyra, okay. So now they have to have basically negate. So let's see, they could have the bounce a card, but I think it's non-land permanent. So they could bounce Nissa in response to our binding if we play the binding first. So I think what we want to do here is tap a forest for mana, then untap it, then use that mana. Like that. Now we bind the Lyra. Oh, they had the negate. Alright, now we have a creature. We're one short of using the Oasis. So they're going to attack Nissa down to 3, and they'd go to 8. Then the Oasis would still be threatening lethal. Close game. They have 2 cards in hand. Attacking Nissa. Alright, as expected. Alright, Gideon. That's not going to work targeting a land. Just target a different land. Alright, so they get an emblem. Yep, that's smart. Let's see what we got. Our own Lyra. I have to believe that's good. Alright, so we can minus Nissa to get some stuff back. I think what we want to do, though, is make them have it. Or at least they can go to... we can put them to 0, but then I guess they still have the Gideon emblem. So I guess we just stack the Gideon. And bottom that. Got something? Oh, they do have something. Alright, that's fine. So now they can make Gideon a creature and attack both at Nissa to kill Nissa. Yeah, or they, I guess they could do that as well. And then attack Nissa. We keep Nissa around by blocking. We can minus to get... No, I don't think that's worth it. So we get our forest back. That doesn't sound right. So bottom that. Rishkar, okay. Jeez. Man, this game, I thought we were in pretty decent shape. After we drew that Nissa. So we go to 10. Gideon on Lyra is a pretty good answer. Karn, okay. Do you have anything to get with that? No. So we'll just do this. Teferi, jeez. The rips keep coming. So now we have to chump block. Yeah, both of me. This doesn't really matter which one we block. Alright, we'll cycle. Sack the draw card. Alright, need to find an answer to Lyra. So we're at 5. Nope, that's it. Good games. Let's see, we're on the draw. We can go turn 1 Grove, turn 2 Elf. I think it's just too slow though. It's like the opponent is also mulliganing. Pretty much just want action on the top of our deck here. That does not qualify as action. It's basically doing this job. It's a cycling land, and we're basically cycling it for 0 mana on turn 0. Doing exactly what the card is intended to do, scry at the bottom. I think if I could, in the dark, have the cycling land as the card I scry to after I mulligan, like every time, I think I would take that. Because sometimes you just want lands, and sometimes you don't want lands. If you don't want lands, you just scry it away. If you need lands, then it's a dual land on top of your deck. So that'd be sweet. That should be the new mulligan rule. Just be able to automatically decide if you want to tap dual land on top of your deck. Not actually, but that'd be fun. Maybe some format. Call it like Scry Brawl or something. Alright, so here, pretty clear Branch Walker turn 2. Looks like we're against mono red, the aggro version. We just get to scry everything. Get free land, not bad. So if they attack, if they have a burn spell, alright, well, I guess they'll just exert and we take 4. Don't even have a decision. Now we have a decision. Do we play Brontodon or do we play Branch Walker? Next turn we can bind the Crasher. I think I'd rather Branch Walker here. So I'm gonna just keep hitting my plays. That's not bad actually. I think we can top that. No, I mean we can put it on top of the deck. I don't think we can top that as far as like what we're going to draw. It's like we can top that. We'll scry to the bottom. We'll put it in the graveyard. All right, good. They don't have Hazard. That was the one card I was kind of. I mean, I guess we have the bindings, so I'm not really worried about it, but. I think here I want to play the Shalai. And yeah, we'll get in an attack. Not worried about anything. So now the only one that they can target with the on-grop Crasher ability is the Angel. That is probably the one they want to do, but that means the Branch Walker can then block the Crasher. So they have to be able to they can't target the Branchwalker until they deal with the Angel. So this might mean don't have good attacks. And why don't we play more than one Shalai? That card's great. Look at this. This is awesome. So we definitely want to survive to Lyra, obviously, but I think that our play is just going to be Ballista for 2, and we can block Soulscar Mage and ping the Kenra, I mean. Or we could just block the Soulscar Mage and just make them play a spell. Otherwise we just eat it, which is even better. I think we do attack, though. It's not a lot I'm worried about at this point. I think we might just not need these Lyras. Still had all these Lyras. I say that and we're probably about to die, but probably not. Yeah. So now post-board, a lot of times they go bigger. So even though we are pretty reasonably equipped game 1 to deal with their stuff, things can change post-board. So I definitely like the Harvester no matter what they do. Rishkar I can do without. I like having a Nissa. And even though Baffling End is good against a lot of their early plays, when they go the bigger route, those kind of cards get worse. Whereas I think Arrest and Binding are always good, because they can also deal with Hazaret. So I'm not really worried about dealing with, like, using Baffling End to kill their early plays. That's not really why we want that. I do, however, want some late game ways to do stuff, like not just flood out. So I think Treasure map is decent. Lyra is obviously great. I think I want the Blossoming Defense though. So I think Blossoming Defense protecting Lyra is a pretty big game against them. Shanna, we're not really going super wide, but let's see. So I guess if we just rely on Nissa as that late game spell, I think that might be okay. So now our removal spells, we have Bindings, Arrest, and Sealaways. And we have Blossoming Defense to protect some of our creatures. I think that I want to keep a map, maybe over a Shanna. Shanna's pretty good, though. I'd rather have, like, Brontodon and stuff. Yeah, we'll just go with this. It's possible that the Bestiary is better than the map, since we're boarding out Karn. Like, getting the 3 treasures is really good with the Golem tokens, the constructs, whatever they are. We can't cast the elf on the first turn, that's the problem. Let's go turn 1 Grove, turn 2 Shanna is a 1/1. I think I want to just mulligan that. Yeah, I like this hand better. Alright. Opponent kept. We're just waiting on them. They probably don't realize I'm recording. There we go. So since they didn't have a turn 1 play, it means there's a decent chance they have a shock, which means it might be better to just play one of these tapped lands. See what we draw. Of course, they have a stop on our upkeep. Kind of a fan of Nissa. I like this Nissa. It's a way to pressure planeswalkers with the haste ability. Kind of feels like charging Monstrous Soar. Or both of the other abilities are also very relevant. Alright, so we are actually going to play around the shock. Alright, so we hit the other Oasis. We have one Oasis on the bottom of our deck. We drew the other one. So we have no more Oasis unless we shuffle. We're about to get Chain Warlord. That'd be pretty good here. Be even better if we cast that Elf on turn 1. Ooh, called it. Let's hope you don't have another one. So we're going to go land, Elf, then land, Nissa. I think I don't want that. Yeah, so it looks like they probably did board out their small stuff and bring in the big stuff. Oh, that is first strike? Jeez. I knew that. I was just, people like to do that where they're just like, attack. And I'm like, all right, block. And it's like, what? That card does that? All right, well, that was a good draw. I think I'd rather bind the Hazoret, though. I want to end up cycling the Grove, so I'm not going to play the Grove here. No more Hazarets for you. Let's race. Soulscar Mage, not bad. Block with my Ixalan's Binding. Alright, not bad, not bad. So I think I want to save the Arrest. I think I don't want to attack actually either. Because if they burn out the Llanowar Elf, then we don't have any way to crew the Harvester. Still not going to play the Grove though, because I want to cycle it. Hopefully they don't have a braid for the harvester. I guess really any burn spell after we block the Chain Whirler would deal with it. That works. Let's see, so who do they attack with here? Into the harvester. I mean, whatever. If you got the shock, you got it. I guess if you have braid, this would be the time to braid here. So we lose our mana, so we can't cycle our grove. That would actually be a really good play by the opponent here. No, it wouldn't be, because then if we have the blossoming defense, we would just get them real good. I guess they could do it in response to the crew. Alright, so do we want to gain a life, lose an energy? Yes, I think so. I guess they have first strike. What am I doing? Alright, whatever. We didn't need that energy anyway. Their own harvester. Interesting. Let's see. Alright. So we could actually just make like a scattered grove into a 5/5. So then we'd have a 5/5. We could like block the Soulscar Mage and then seal away the harvester. Something like that. Alright. We do definitely want to seal away the harvester though. So we want to wait until they're crewed. Oh, dragon. Not bad. That'll give -4/-4 to a creature permanently with the Soulscar Mage. Unless we deal with it in response. We could seal away the Soulscar Mage, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, they're not even exerting. Both at me. Alright, we're going to hit the dragon.
Alright, so now we can actually minus Nissa to get back our Harvester. That sounds pretty reasonable. I think that's probably better than the Branch Walker. Six mana. Hopefully it's not a Siege Gang commander. Me or Nissa? That's the question. Me? Alright, no blocks. We're going to seal away that. Hmm. Gain some life. I didn't use the Oasis because I figure if they have a removal spell, I'd rather do that next attack because I really want to get it through. Yeah. Alright, they're down to one card. Left back a chump blocker. Alright, they have 7 lands. What's going to be? Hopefully it's not Tranquility. We just instant lose the game. They get all their creatures back. Fortunately, they're red, so that's probably not going to happen. Soulscar. So if it's a 3 damage burn spell, we get a 4, then that becomes a 2, and we're in shock range. I think I block. Binding, okay. Minus to get back that Harvester again. I think I want to go ahead and... Do I want to bind? No, I don't. So I can just block the Harvester. Alright, now things look good. Let's go crew. And I'm not really worried about the Soulscar Mage anymore, so I'm not going to bind it. Just have this 5/5 Forest back to block. Now our life total's padded enough to where they have to play some big threat like a dragon. And good thing we have the binding for it. So then that'll be their last dragon they play this game. I think they're thinking about, do I kill Nissa? Pretty sure the answer is yes. So they fire off the dragon at Nissa. So Nissa down. What? They don't. That's not bad. Might get a concession here. So we go to 3, and then that means the Ballista is going to be lethal next turn, so we're in pretty good shape here. Nissa did some work this game, got back Harvester twice, now making Forests attack. Fight with fire. Alright, almost was able to deal 10. For 1 mana off. I think they were just showing us, yeah. That's a dead elf. A very dead elf. Alright, good games.